the Canada Goose trim, that fur, is actually from the spine of a coyote. So these coyotes are trapped in snares. Often they're trapped for multiple days before they come back for them, and they will often chew off their own limbs trying to get free. Often they're attacked by other animals and they're just left there suffering for days. I mean, there's no ethical way to hunt an animal for its fur. Right now we're seeing little chicks, and see what's going on with this footage. I'm not sure what we're watching here. What is it? Okay, so
the Canada Goose is at coyotes
and it's down. Okay. So down is geese often, and that's actually what this is right here. So a lot of the time we think that the feathers just come from animals that have already died, but it's actually called live plucking, where they take the goose and they will pluck them several times, and they'll pluck them alive, and then they wait for the feathers to come back, and then they pluck them again, wait for the feathers to come back, pluck them again. Now you can only imagine how much pain these animals are in as they're getting plucked live, only to have it happen again and again. And so we don't actually need to use these animals. We don't need to eat them, we don't need to wear them, we don't need them for decoration. There's no ethical way to do it. Canada Goose is only one example of one brand that does this, and it takes about 12 geese for each jacket.
Okay.
So, I mean, with so many other brands that are available, and synthetic fibers, natural fibers, there's no need for it. I have a jacket made of hemp, and it's the warmest jacket I've ever had, and I've had down hemp hoodlum, exactly, that's right. So, let's see, what is this? Following footage was taken September 2008 outside a Hallmark Farm slaughterhouse in Vancouver. Okay, so I'm actually from Vancouver, and this Hallmark Farm, or Hallmark slaughterhouse, is right off of the downtown core. These chickens come in by the truckload, truck after truck, every single day. And chickens are actually the most abused animal in the industry. We often think about, well, I'll stop eating beef or I'll stop eating pigs because we value those animals more. But chickens are the most abused animal in the entire industry, and just so many of them. So chicken, people often think is a healthier meat, so they'll opt for chicken and clean eating, or healthy chicken breast is what they think. But
right.
It's actually considered class 2 carcinogen, so it's a probable cancer causer. Whereas we know, like, processed beef or processed foods, processed meats and bacon and whatnot, they're class 1 carcinogen in the same category as asbestos. But chicken's not any healthier. So what we're doing here, we're part of a group called Anonymous for the Voiceless, and there's chapters all over the world in most of the major cities, and we're just bringing the truth to the consumer, because a lot of people buy into these industries having no knowledge of what the truth actually is.
Right.
And a lot of this happens just behind closed doors. So these are minks for fur farms, and minks are actually electrocuted with a electrical probe into their anus, and they're killed that way so they don't bleed and wreck the fur. But I mean, there's really no ethical way to do it, and there's no need for it. So do you eat meat right now?
Not very much. I eat fish, like my family fishes. Yeah, I don't eat a lot of meat. My great aunt and uncle were mink farmers, but obviously they didn't want to breed them. They lived up north, so that was
Well, and that's the thing, is we're raised to think that certain things are necessary, and once upon a time maybe they were.
Yeah.
But right now it's 2019, and we have an abundance of vegetation, and now we have the facts. We have scientific evidence that shows that there is really not much healthy about animal products. It doesn't matter if it's dairy or eggs or any kind of meat. There's no health benefits to it. And we also know that every single essential nutrient that the human body needs comes from plant sources. So you're not getting anything in eggs or in milk or in cheese or in butter or any meat or fish that you can't get from plant sources. And so it raises the question that if we don't have a necessity for it, and if we don't have to do it for survival, then is there an ethical or a humane way for it, and can we justify continuing it?
Yeah.
So another thing is...
Yeah, I mean, it just takes so much for cows to live off, right? That we can use for other things.
That's exactly what I was just going to say too, is that right now Canada is in a climate crisis. We've declared a climate emergency, and what a lot of people don't know is that animal agriculture is the #1 contributor to climate change. So if I told you that animal agriculture was the #1 contributor to climate change via greenhouse gases, and also the #1 contributor to freshwater consumption, also the #1 contributor to ocean dead zones, also the #1 contributor to deforestation, also the #1 contributor to species extinction, like anything and everything you can think of that's bad for the planet, animal agriculture is the #1 contributor to it. It's also the #1 contributor to poor human health. So the main reason that people die is from heart disease and what was the other one? Heart disease, heart attacks, all that stuff. The #1 reason for it is animal agriculture, because those animal products are clogging up our arteries, and the cholesterol is only found in animal products. Animal products are the only source of cholesterol. It's not in plant products.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whether you're doing it for ethical reasons or for health reasons or for
Yeah.
environmental reasons, veganism is always the way to go, because it's your way of saying that you don't want to contribute to the cruelty. It's your way of saying you don't want to contribute to poor health. It's your way of saying that you don't want to contribute to climate change. So there's no reason to continue. I mean, when you see how the animals suffer, it really, for me, it opened my eyes up to it, because I didn't know half of it for so long. And then once I found out, I thought, okay, well, now I'm morally obligated to make a change because I know better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you only eat fish. Is it just because your family fishes, or like do you think there's
just like, I like fish, but when we have fresh fish, it's not like an everyday kind of thing. So, yeah.
There's a brand called Gardein, and you'll find it just in the freezer section. And they have actually vegan fish sticks
Okay.
that you wouldn't know the difference. They taste great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like fish sticks anyway. Yeah, I mean, like I haven't eaten pork in like 27 years, so.
Lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
There's also, a lot of people think that fish is a great source of omega-3s, but you actually would have to consume a lot of fish to get the omega-3s that you could get by taking like algae supplements. So plant sources of omega-3s are actually still more superior to the fish sources.
Okay.
As well as when you think about, your family's probably just doing like a line fishing, but fishing is actually
commercial fishing.
exactly. But it goes to show, like right now there's a big campaign about not using straws to help save the fish.
Yeah.
But fishing lines and like fishing nets and everything actually account for more than 50% of the ocean plastic, whereas straws account for less than 5%. So it's kind of
So like the nets, like the plastic
fishing nets get discarded into the ocean, and that accounts for over 50% of all plastic in the ocean. Whereas we're putting our focus on straws, which accounts for less than 5% of the plastic.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows that our priorities are not quite where they should be.
Yeah.
There's a short documentary on YouTube called Seaspiracy, and it actually talks about a lot of how like fishing is detrimental to the environment and how it's damaging our environment.
Right.
And you seem like you're already so close to being vegan that I'd like to give you a card if you're open to it, and you can maybe do a little bit more just of your own research. And there's some amazing documentaries. So there's three main documentaries. What the Health talks about the health reasons why you should go vegan. Cowspiracy talks about the environmental reasons why you should go vegan, and Dominion is graphic. These two are not, and that talks about the ethical reasons why, and it covers everything from just, pets that don't quite make it there in the SPCA and whatnot, what happens to them, all the way to meat farming, all the way to fur farming. It just goes over everything we do to animals and how we use animals and exploit them in every way. And then this here, the best speech you will ever hear, is about a 1-hour documentary on YouTube. It is amazing. It was a speech that he gave in a university, and I know several of my friends personally went vegan on the spot after watching that, because it's just so thorough. I would highly recommend watching all of those, Dominion, if you can't quite handle it at first, start with the other ones.
Yeah.
Nutritionfacts.org is also a really, really wonderful resource for just a lot of the nutrition information we've been given is because the government takes money from these
or, like,
corporations, so they tell us exactly. So we don't
I
need
mean, like the last health guide doesn't have milk as
Exactly.
because it's like water should be the drink of choice.
Exactly.
But then that's also it's like if like the dairy producers are helping to fund the whatever, then
That's
it's
right.
going to like sway
And it also says to opt for plant-based proteins over meat proteins.
Yeah.
So the Canadian Food Guide is making a good change there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're still taking money from people to tell us certain things.
Yeah.
So from hospitals to schools to preschools, they have this propaganda basically that they tell us because it's easier to make money when they tell us to buy these products, right? But vegan22.com is 22 days of free support with the where, what, how, why, recipes, everything. So a lot of people want to make the change, but they're not quite confident in themselves to make that change.
Okay.
This will give you that free support. And they say it takes 21 days to form a habit. So you've got that 21 days plus an extra day to really be sure of yourself, make that habit. And it gets so much easier. And right now we're in a day and age where veganism is on the rise and you're finding plant-based options everywhere. I mean, even A&W has the Beyond Burger. If you've tried it, like it's great. But please go home and watch one of these. And I would maybe recommend like The Best Speech, What the Health, or Cowspiracy to get you started. Which one do you think you would watch first if you went home and watched one?
I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe The Best Speech.
Okay, can you promise me you'll go watch The Best Speech? And if you like it, move on. So what do you think means more to you? The environment, health, ethics?
Probably like ethics, environment, like they seem really interlinked.
Well, if you're not